Hey and welcome to Neverwinter with Aragon. Today I would like to show you where you should be putting your ability scores for which class and which role that you will be performing in combat. When you first start out at level 1 and as you make your way all the way up to level 80, you will get certain ability score which you can place in certain places. Now depending on which class you're playing and which role you're also playing, it depends where you should be putting them. In this video I will go over the ability scores, inform you of which bonuses they give and why you should be putting ability scores in certain places and what they actually will benefit to your character. Okay, so when first starting out you will be given a set of ability scores. You won't be able to change the ability scores or anything. The only things you'll be able to modify at the very beginning is which race you choose. Depending on which race you choose, you will have certain bonuses to certain ability scores. Some races are more flexible than others. For example, the Dragonborn will have +2 to any 2 ability scores, and the human will have +3 to any ability score. The other races will have a given set, so it will be like +2 to strength and then +2 to either constitution or wisdom. Now, when you're first starting out, you may want to choose a race that will be ideal for the class you're going to be running and also the role you're going to be running, whether it's healer, tank, or DPS. Anyway, while you're leveling up, there will be certain levels which you will gain ability score points. As you can see here, all of the levels are up the top. You'll have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. However, on level 30 you will get +1 to all of them, and at level 60 you will get +1 to all of them. So you won't have to make any decisions there. Okay, so let's begin with strength. Strength will essentially give you stamina regeneration and a damage boost to your physical attacks. To determine whether your attacks are physical or not, it is dependent on which class you play. For example, a fighter, barbarian, and a rogue, and a ranger, they're all physical damage dealing classes. All of their damage is essentially from weapons, so you'll be physically injuring your enemies. Whereas classes like the wizard, the warlock, cleric, and the paladin for the most part, their attacks are magical. So that wouldn't be under the category of physical damage boost. So if you wanted to take strength, you would take it for the extra stamina regeneration. That will allow you to dodge more attacks or block more attacks more often, since you will regain that pool more quickly and therefore you'll have more of it available over time. And the damage boost is just something you want to have, especially if you're physical damage dealing DPS. Then we move to Constitution. Constitution will give you a small bonus to maximum hit points. Then also with Constitution you gain a bonus to action point. Action point generation is required for you to be able to cast your dailies. With 0% action point gain, you'll be able to cast a daily every minute if you continually use your powers while in combat. If you increase your modifier of your action point gain, you'll be able to cast dailies more often. However, since dailies are so infrequent and you'd only be able to cast them every minute or so, I wouldn't particularly bother with Constitution. The HP bonus is minimal and the AP gain is also minimal. So Constitution is a stat I wouldn't advise anybody to put points in at all, even if you're a tank. Now Dexterity. Dexterity will give you a bonus to your critical severity. Essentially, whenever you critically hit a target, the damage will be increased based off your critical severity. The more critical severity you have, the more damage you will do when you actually crit. Then Dexterity, very handily, has movement speed. Dexterity is one of the key ability scores which fits on every class. Every class can benefit from both of the bonuses from Dexterity. So it is a very good ability score to put your points into. That movement speed can be very handy when you're leveling through zones and you just want to move quicker. Now intelligence, basically it will give you a control bonus. This means whenever you use a power which basically stuns a target, dazes, anything like that, that you basically put control over your enemy, essentially you will increase the duration of that control effect by that percentage. So currently I have 6%, so whenever I cast a stun, I will increase that duration by 6%. As well as that, intelligence gives a magical damage boost, so whenever you deal magical damage, let's say you're using a wizard and all your powers, they'll be magical, you gain a slight bonus to the damage that they deal, based on how high your intelligence is, and that bonus from there. Then wisdom. Wisdom is the key ability score for healers. If you're a healer, you want to concentrate on putting all your points in wisdom. However, the main bonus for wisdom is control resist, which is not particularly needed on any class whatsoever. You could consider taking it as a tank, but you won't see much of an impact. Essentially, control resist will reduce the effect that stuns and dazes, etc. have on you that the enemies will put on you. The key one, the reason why a healer should take wisdom, is that outgoing healing bonus. This bonus directly contributes to the amount that you can heal, and so it is specifically the best one there for the healers. Now we move on to charisma. Charisma contributes to your companion influence and your recharge speed. Your companion influence essentially will give you more stats based on what stats your companion has. So if I look at my companion stats, I can see there's a whole range of different stats my companion is giving me. And if you look here on the charisma, I have 9% companion influence. Essentially what that means, I will get 9% more of these stats. Of course, this bonus will go up depending on how many points you have in charisma. Then there is recharge speed. Recharge speed will essentially reduce the cooldowns on your powers. For example, if I have an encounter power that has a 30-second cooldown after I cast it, if I have 10% recharge speed, I'll be able to reduce that time by 3 seconds, essentially giving it a 27-second cooldown. Therefore, charisma is beneficial for all classes. That companion influence, beneficial for everybody, you'll get more stats, and the recharge speed will benefit every class which uses cooldowns, which is nearly every class. I would say the paladin and the cleric have the least amount of cooldown powers, so you may want to consider putting those points somewhere else if you tend to use a lot of powers which use the resource pool known as divinity. Okay, so that is all of the different ability scores and what bonuses they give you. So on level 10, you'll gain a bonus to your ability scores, so you'll be able to put 1 point in 2 different ones. Currently I'm playing healer, so I like to use dexterity and wisdom. Then on level 20, you again get 1 point for 2 different ones. Level 30, you automatically get +1 to all of them. Level 40, you get +1 to 2 different ones. Level 50, you again get the same. Level 60, you then get +1 to all of them. Level 70, you get +1 to 2 again, and the same on level 80. And essentially this is what all my ability scores will look like. I hit accept and it applies them and increases my ability scores. Also, another way to increase your ability scores is with your neck and waist set. If you look at all of these sets, you can see that these ones will give you a bonus to Constitution, and you can see the odd one there will give you other different ones. But the newest sets, like the Reflective Collar or the Electric Collar, will just give +5 to your constitution. As a healer, I like to use the Tiamat set for actual set bonus, but it only gives a +3 to my constitution. Constitution isn't particularly needed, so I'm not too worried about that. However, on my waist set, it gives me a bonus to wisdom and charisma. The main point I'm looking for is wisdom, because that will increase my heals. Anyway, these two, the neck and waist, will give you certain bonuses to certain ability scores. Generally, you want to actually just be looking at the set bonus that they give you and not the ability scores, since they are a minor increase. Then you also have these specific artifacts, which also give a bonus to ability scores when you have the set of them. You can see there at the very bottom it says 2 of set, increase all attributes by 1. That will essentially give me +1 to all my ability scores. That's another reason why these books are one of the best artifacts you can have in your repertoire. So now you can see all of my ability scores have gone up according to the bonuses that I have. Another thing that will give you a bonus to ability scores are campfires. Campfires will give you a bonus to +1 to all of your ability scores. If you look on the map, you can always see the campfires as their little icons there. You can see I moved to the campfire. You can see it gives me this buff, well rested, for 15 minutes, +1 to all ability scores. This will keep refreshing every second while I stand within the campfire. However, when I move out of the campfire, it starts ticking down at 15 minutes. Again, it's just a minor increase, but if you pass by a campfire, you may as well just pop in it and refresh that bonus. Okay, so depending on what class you're playing, and what role you're playing, you'll want to put your ability scores in different areas. So, starting out as a healer, you'll want to put your ability scores in wisdom and dexterity. Then, as the tank, you generally want to put your ability scores in charisma. The reason being, charisma with its companion influence bonus, when you have an augment companion, you will gain more HP from this companion influence than you will by putting the points in constitution. Then, as your secondary ability score, you want to either put your points into dexterity for the crit severity and movement speed, move faster, and you'll do more damage. Or you want to put them in strength. Strength will give you that stamina regeneration, you'll be able to have more shield more often, and you'll also gain that physical damage boost, depending on what class you play. The barbarian tank and the fighter tank, they both will benefit fully from the physical damage boost. However, the paladin, on his at-wills, they are physical damage, so you'll gain from that. However, the encounter powers are mainly magical, so you won't gain the bonus to damage from your strength. Then if you are a DPS, which uses your weapons to harm the enemies, and you do physical damage, you will most likely want to take dexterity and strength for both the bonuses to your damage. However, if you are missing some stats and you're struggling to reach the caps for the zones that you're in, you may want to consider charisma. Also, charisma is good for those classes which have those long cooldown powers. And then as a magical dealing DPS, you want to switch out strength for intelligence for that magical damage boost. And that's about it really. That's it fairly simply. If you are unsure and you can't find a build or where to put your ability scores, your safest bet is putting them all in dexterity and charisma, as every class will benefit from all of the bonuses from both those ability scores. Okay, so that's everything for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. If you liked what you saw here, consider leaving a like. If you're new around here, consider subscribing. And goodbye for now.